Okay, I'm going to show you how to make a welt for your holster. So I got a piece of scrap of my paper. This is pallet sheeting. I'm going to take the pattern, I'm going to lay it onto the piece of paper like that. I'm just going to lay it where I can get from the top of the pattern to the bottom about. And take my wing dividers, which I've got set for roughly ½ an inch probably, which is about where I want it. I'm going to come in not quite to the top, just a little bit inside from the top. I'm going to narrow this up just a little and give you some reference. This is about 3/8 of an inch roughly. So I'm just going to come along that edge of that, maybe figure out this. It's not wanting to go where I want it to go. I'm going to come along the edge and try to make 2 lines. It's not working as smooth as it should at the moment. It's not staying on the line, but we'll get there. Come along the bottom. Now, if I can see that, yep, darker with a pencil. Okay. My art skills are terrible. See how close I can follow these 2 lines. Kind of hard to see. Make sure that that's how I want it. Okay. So that's your welt. So that I'm going to cut out of scrap piece of leather, probably thicker than that. I want, actually, I used a vegetable tan split recently to make a gun belt, which I just got that video up, or series of videos up. I think there were 6 of them. I'm going to use a piece from that for the welt to go in between here. So I'll get that cut out. So you just cut that out, put it on a piece of leather, trace that out, cut it, and that's all you'd have to do for that piece. So I'll do that off camera too. So that's how you make your welt. You got your, so this is the one I cut out in the last video. Now when I cut the next one out, you want to make sure that you do it opposite. Opposite meaning when I put these 2 together, I want it smooth and smooth. So what I did, I put this one with the rough side out facing me, and then put it on top of the thinner belly with the face up. So it was like backwards basically, because it's so much easier to see your line marking with an awl on the top grain, smooth side. So I traced it and got that cut out. So now these are both all ready to be glued. Since it's going to be right-handed holster, the outside's going to be the thicker one. So I think I will glue these together and then do my edge work. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Well, I'm going to do the edge work. Yeah, I'll glue them together and then do what edge work I can, probably. And then I'll make a video of actually doing it, putting it all together and sewing the perimeter. I'll show you guys how to do that. Kind of show you little bits of each step. Otherwise this video would be many hours long. So I think I am going to do the bigger side. I'm going to find the right tool here. This is the biggest one. To sharpen these, you can just go, if you make one of these strops, it's just a piece of leather stapled to a board. And I ordered white jeweler's rouge, and you just put a bunch of that on there, rub it in real hard. If you just go to the side, you can sharpen and polish your edger that way pretty easy. Kind of wipe that off. I'm just going to take off just the smooth side edge. The other one's going to get, that'll be glued to the face of that other piece, so I don't need to round that off, bevel it. This will help hide any inconsistencies or imperfections with your cutting as well. And it smooths out everything, makes it look a little more uniform, especially in these tight curves right here. That's really hard to get cut right. That round knife is the best thing, but I'm not a professional at all with those, so I still kind of struggle. You want to try to make sure that your hand stays behind this thing. I've never ran it into myself before, but I can't imagine that that would end well for you or your leather project or anything. So be mindful of that. Just keep going. Okay. Now, I'll mark my edges first and then we'll glue them together. So this is a stitch groover, that way you can see it. So you just adjust it with this. So I'm going to make this, I'm going to come out there, which is a little over, around 1/4 inch, I think. Yeah, I'm going to make that a little smaller. This is a little under 1/4 inch. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so we're just going to make ourselves a stitch line. This has got a guide on it that butts up to the edge of the leather. You just go around the entire perimeter, slow and steady. Okay, you can kind of see that line. Now, I'll show you what kind of glue I'm using, and I'll probably glue it off camera and then come back and show you guys how to stitch it. So the two kinds of glue I got is Leathercraft cement, which you've seen in other videos, and then I did this, showed you this in the overview video if you guys have seen that. But flexible adhesive, got this at a local hardware store, formerly a True Value store, now it's Ace Hardware where I work. So this works really good, but it's a Loctite brand. You want good ventilation for that. If I'm going to do this in my basement, I'll use the Leathercraft cement, which works pretty good, but it's not near as strong as this. A lot of guys will use contact cement. I've used it. That stuff smells so strong though that it gets in my house even when I do it in the garage, so I'm not a big fan of using that. It works really good if you follow the directions, but not something that I really like to use, so I'll probably end up just using this. I'm just tacking it long enough to get the perimeter sewed, so it's not a big deal if it's not the greatest. Looks like I got a poke hole in the end here. That glue gets dried on the end. So I'm just gonna go around, stay inside at least an inch or so. Just kind of dribble it around there. Just do a little on the other side too, just for good measure. On the end here so that actually tacks. Just do a few drops on the edges. Okay. We'll this on. If a little dribbles out the edge, it's not that big a deal with this kind of glue. It doesn't deface the leather much, and you can just wipe it off if you do it fast enough. Oops, I just got some on the face here. I'm going to dye this anyway, and the holster itself will be over that part, so I'm going to dribble on something. That was a good spot. Alright. Now I'm just going to put some boards I got laying around my shop, pieces of plywood, lay them on there and let it dry. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.